Good morning. Welcome to JoyNews Dex. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemne. Coming up this morning, we're starting with Akosombo Dam spillage, where Education Minister Yao Educhum is meeting students and teachers in some flooded communities. Also in this bulletin, Conference of Heads of District Directors of Education take on government for the non-payment of capitation grants, saying they are having to rely on their own pockets to run their offices and schools.
Government of Ghana grants and the capitation grants meant for our schools and offices are not forthcoming. And in fact, the few past years has been very tough for directors and heads of our schools.
More as Upper West Regional Minister describes as disrespectful the absence of the Education Minister from the just ended 30th annual conference held in the region. Plus, Chief Justice Her Ladyship Gertrude Tokono charges judges to update their technological know-how in the face of growing cybercrime cases in the country in order to ensure justice delivery.
Landscape of cybercrime.
Let us throw our learning scope with regards to electronic evidence extremely wide.
Details plus business coming up shortly. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do stay for details. Education Minister Dr. Yao Educhum has assured students and teachers in communities affected by the Akosombo spillage that government is committed to bringing normalcy to addressing the issues regarding education. School children in the flood-affected areas have been worst hit and have had to sit home until the floods recede. Ivy Setoji has more in this report.
In a bid to gauge the severe impact of recent flooding on the education of children, the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Educhum, embarked on a tour of flood-affected areas. With compassion and commitment to addressing the challenges posed by the flood, the minister's visit aimed to better understand the extent of damage to educational infrastructure and the emotional well-being of affected school children. Dr. Yao Educhum said they are doing everything possible to solve the issues regarding education and bring some kind of normalcy to the teaching and learning process.
To engage stakeholders to really get on the spot accounts and various initiatives that are being undertaken. We've come, we've seen the teachers, we've talked to the regional minister, district chief executive, NADMO coordinator who is here. So we've gotten a very good feel of what is going on and how we can support the effort. As you see here, these are makeshift classes and students are learning. That's a good thing, that they are not losing out. In a number of places, we don't have that opportunity, and we should create that opportunity immediately. So we are looking at short-term solutions, medium-term and long-term solutions to the challenges. But as Education Minister, my primary purpose for the visit is how do I bring normalcy to the teaching and learning process, and that's why we came, and we've seen enough to go back and then look at what we can do to really bring about teaching and learning to our community, to our parents and to our students.
Some of the teachers have also been speaking about their challenges.
Right now, every teacher in this area needs a life guidance. It's
That's all.
There's suppose JHS blog is currently hosting flag victims. I use the word suppose because the new blog has not been commissioned and has not been handed over to us. So currently, our JHS is sit under trees.
Okay.
And then the new building is hosting the flag victims. So I want to appeal that the place should be commissioned and handed over to us in due time. Thank you.
Okay.
The textbooks and everything are floating in the water.
My school is captured as safe haven, but the road to safe haven is not.
The recent floods have wreaked havoc in several districts in the Volta region, leading to massive displacement, destruction of homes, and infrastructure damage. Among the most severely impacted aspects of the disaster is the education of children, many of whom have been out of school for an extended period. Ivy Setoji for JoyNews. Mepe.
National President of Conference of District Directors of Education, Bernice Ofori, has expressed worry of the non-payment of capitation grant. She says the situation has forced the directors and heads of schools to run their offices and schools from their own pockets. JoyNews' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam has more from WA.
National President of the Conference of District Directors of Education, CODE, Bernice Ofori, commended the government for the introduction of some innovative programs in the education sector, particularly science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM, and technical and vocational education, TVET, which she believes will take the country to new heights in education. Bernice Ofori noted, however, that CODE has numerous challenges they are facing, including the hiatus in the payment of GOG and capitation grants for running of offices and schools, forcing some of them to use their personal monies to run either their offices or the schools.
Government of Ghana grants and the capitation grants meant for our schools and offices are not forthcoming. And in fact, the few past years has been very tough for directors and heads of our schools, who are in some cases trying to have their personal funds for the day-to-day running of the directories and the monitoring of our schools respectively.
Another issue is the undue delay in the making of the official calendar for preschools, which is affecting administrative and management functions in the schools and offices.
Planning ahead has become impossible as pressure continues to mount on us directors from our head teachers all over. Some end up using wrong information on social media to plan. CODE will appreciate to have the terms and holidays of the next academic year ready by middle of the third term running. Since school management as well as our teachers rely on them to plan our academic activities, and pupils and parents and assemblies and all other stakeholders rely on them.
The 30th Annual Conference of District Directors of Education was held on the theme Resourcing Basic Education in Ghana for Quality Education Delivery. It was attended by all district directors of education across the country, retired district directors of education, traditional rulers, and other major stakeholders in the education sector. Conspicuously missing, however, was the Minister for Education, Dr. Joe Aduchum, his deputies, and the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkansa. The former has pension for refusing to attend national programs of education hosted by the Upper West region, including the investiture of the first Vice Chancellor of the Simon Diodondombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Philip Duku-Osai, in 2022. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali did not take kindly to the behavior of the Education Minister, his deputies, and the Director General of the Ghana Education Service and called them out, eliciting drumming and thunderous applause from the participants.
I'm not happy that the Minister of Education or either of his deputies, together with the Director General, are not here. I'm not happy at all. For me, this is an important national event, and no excuse is good enough for them not to be here. I want to express the feeling of the chiefs and people of the Upper West region that we see this as an affront to us.
Paramount Chief of the Boha Traditional Area, Na Ali Sedi Pilipu Yalmana, who chaired the function, stated that education is the bedrock of the development of every nation and expressed worry over its politicization in the country. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Meanwhile, Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh has taken on the Education Minister Dr. Yawse Duchum, his deputies, and Director General of the Ghana Education Service Dr. Eric Nkansa for failing to attend the 30th Annual Conference of the District Directors of Education in the Upper West region. Dr. bin Saleh says the chiefs and people of the region consider the no-show as an affront to the development of the region. JoyNews' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam once again reports.
The 30th Annual Conference of District Directors of Education was held on the theme Resourcing Basic Education in Ghana for Quality Education Delivery. It was attended by all district directors of education across the country, retired district directors of education, traditional rulers, and other major stakeholders in the education sector. Conspicuously missing, however, was the Minister for Education, Dr. Yo Aduchum, his deputies, and the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkansa. The former has pension for refusing to attend national programs of education hosted by the Upper West region, including the investiture of the first Vice Chancellor of the Simon Diodondombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Philip Duku-Osai, in 2022. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh did not take kindly to the behavior of the Education Minister, his deputies, and the Director General of the Ghana Education Service and called them out, eliciting drumming and thunderous applause from the participants.
I'm not happy that the Minister of Education or either of his deputies, together with the Director General, are not here. I'm not happy at all. For me, this is an important national event, and no excuse is good enough for them not to be here. I want to express the feeling of the chiefs and people of the Upper West region that we see this as an affront to us.
National President of the Conference of District Directors of Education, CODE, Benis Ofori, commended the government for the introduction of some innovative programs in the education sector, particularly science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM, and technical and vocational education, TVET, which she believes will take the country to new heights in education. Benis Ofori noted, however, that CODE has numerous challenges they are facing, including the hiatus in the payment of GOG and capitation grants for running of offices and schools, forcing some of them to use their personal monies to run either their offices or the schools.
Government of Ghana grants and the capitation grants meant for our schools and offices are not forthcoming. And in fact, the few past years has been very tough for directors and heads of our schools who are in some cases trying to have their personal funds for the day-to-day running of the directories and the monitoring of our schools respectively.
Another issue is the undue delay in the making of the official calendar for preschools, which is affecting administrative and management functions in the schools and offices.
Planning ahead has become impossible, as pressure continues to mount on us directors from our head teachers all over. Some end up using wrong information on social media to plan. Code will appreciate to have the terms and holidays of the next academic year ready by middle of the third term running. Since school management as well as our teachers rely on them to plan our academic activities, and pupils and parents and assemblies and all other stakeholders rely on them.
Paramount Chief of the Boha Traditional Area, Na Ali Sedi Pilipu Yalmana, who chaired the function, stated that education is the bedrock of the development of every nation and expressed worry over its politicization in the country. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
Back here in Accra, Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Gertrude Arabe Saba Tokono has raised concerns about the judiciary's technological expertise in addressing cybercrime in the country. According to her, cybercrime cases now stretch to various aspects of our daily life, necessitating judges to upgrade and develop their skills in this field to ensure a fair justice delivery system in line with international standards. There's more in this report.
The 2023 Global Risks Report ranks cybercrimes, while data from the National Cybersecurity Authority also reveals a rising trend in online blackmail and cyberbullying, with women being particularly vulnerable to sextortion. Additionally, the Bank of Ghana reports an increase in cyber fraud losses, which have surged from 2 million cedis to over 4 million cedis in 2023. The Chief Justice has therefore urged the judges to expand their knowledge and skills to keep pace with the evolving landscape of cybercrime.
Let us throw our learning scope with regards to electronic evidence extremely wide as we focus on evidence required to establish cybercrimes. Let us appreciate that the issues of e-law now stretch to virtually every arena of life that humanity is engaged in. E-commerce and e-trade, e-contracts, intellectual property rights on software, hardware, licensing regimes, e-torts, e-entertainment. Virtually every part of life is now being conducted virtually. How do you calculate damages and other penalties? Are the age-old principles that undergirded the grant of discretionary remedies still relevant in activity conducted online? Can you give injunctions on the basis of established principles?
In the age of digitization, the use of technology is crucial in curbing activities of cybercrimes, especially with the nature of internet, which demands international collaboration to track and punish culprits. Director General of the National Cybersecurity Authority, Dr. Albert Entribo-Siako, indicates his outfit's preparedness to deploy experts to all the courts in the country to advise judges on cybersecurity cases.
Our country is not insulated from the threats that are normally reported. The current data from my outfit, the national set at the CSA, has identified online fraud as a major threat in the Ghanaian digital space. Also, among the leading threats reported are online blackmail, unauthorized access, cyberbullying, and publication of non-consensual intimate images, which is affecting most of our youth, both sexes, but of course the females have become vulnerable with the issue of sextortion. The Bank of Ghana has established that the total loss value from cyber fraud increased from 2.6 million in 2021 to 4.3 million in 2022. This difference represents an increase of about 65.55%.
The training of the judges, who were drawn from all the regions in Ghana, aims to to equip the judiciary in cybercrime-related cases in line with the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime and funded by the European Union. Reporting for JoyNews, Samuel Mbura.
The Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, is apprehensive Ghana could soon be plunged into what it terms a choiceless democracy owing to the increasing monetization of the country's political landscape. The political think tank observes electioneering processes financed by certain individuals in a political party tend to change the dynamics of a party's internal politics. Director of Programs and Policy Engagement at CDD Ghana, Dr. Kojo Pomponi Asante, says such activities, if not halted, could undermine democratic governance. He was speaking at a multi-stakeholder forum on credible and peaceful elections in Ghana.
Elections in Ghana over the country's 30-year democratic dispensation have seen rafts of reforms, including technological advancements. However, the exercise is fraught with challenges and has been marred with vices which experts and civil society groups warn could threaten the country's democracy. Prominent among these misconducts include votes buying and selling and growing political vigilantism. Dr. Kojo Pomponi Asante cautioned monetization of local politics threatens the country's democracy.
We are behind in terms of trying to regulate the influence of money in our space, and it's getting worse. Everybody is complaining about it, and even the politicians, you can see, is cutting out of hand. It's affecting also party dynamics, internal party dynamics, because the party is now being captured by people who have money. So if you're a party manager, you can't even exert any discipline. So the actual opportunity to, vote for somebody or even get somebody to compete who you think can do a better job is not there because of the money. So the persons who have the money have captured the parties. And that is the problem that is happening with all our parties across Africa. And when you do that, then the choice is not there. And that's why they're saying that you have choiceless democracies. When you have choiceless democracies, then the resentment that democracy doesn't deliver becomes even more.
Dr. Pomponi Asante was speaking at a multi-stakeholder forum on assessing and empowering stakeholders for credible and peaceful upcoming elections in Ghana. He further prevailed on the appropriate quarters to strictly enforce the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019 to curb activities of thugs in the next elections.
We said we have disbanded vigilantes, but we're still seeing them around, whichever name we call them now. But if we don't do that, then it leads to violence, and then how are we going to explain that? So last time we lost 8 people. We still haven't closed those cases. Are we going to wait for another violence before we learn our lessons? So we should take the law seriously.
Consultative dialogue organized by the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers Ghana was in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme. The event was held to conscientize civil society and political actors ahead of the local government elections slated for December 19. Angela Lusigi is resident director of the UNDP.
With the local elections coming up in December, it is time to change this negative trajectory. I join numerous leaders from across the political, religious, and traditional spectrum to call on everyone to commit to dialogue, building consensus, and peaceful means of resolving differences and misunderstanding. Through this platform today, we can create a safe space to engage and co-create the future we want together. Our future is in the hands of young people. And I challenge young people across Ghana to activate the third level of the decade of action, which is people action, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. If you work together, you can create an unstoppable force that will promote peace, inclusion, and accelerate development in this country. Bring your energetic exuberance on board to make the Sustainable Development Goal number 16, which is on peaceful and cohesive society, and make it a reality in Ghana.
As Ghana hits the polls in 2024, the stakes are high for a credible, transparent and fair election. For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Let's talk about elections. The Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, is urging all political actors to tone down inflammatory language as the country's presidential elections the Liberia presidential elections heads to a runoff. The National Elections Committee Tuesday announced that none of the 20 aspirants contesting the polls secured the required 50% plus one threshold required under Article 83 of the country's constitution. The incumbent President George Weah, who is seeking re-election on the ticket of the Coalition for Democratic Change, secured the highest votes of 804,087, representing 43.83% of the valid vote cast, but will have to run a second contest with his main contendant Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party, who got 796,961, representing 43.44%. The outcome of the 10th October contest will now have to be decided with a second contest on November 14.
Constituting 43.83%. Wako Jeremiah Z votes obtained 9,149, constituting 0.50%. Yofi Luther N. Rebuilders votes obtained 6,479, constituting 0.35%. Total valid votes 1,834,516, constituting 100%. Total invalid votes 114,639. Total votes 1,949,155. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the results of the 10th October 2023 polls show that the ticket of the Congress for Democratic Change, CDC, obtained the highest number of votes, 804,087, constituting 43.83%, followed by the ticket of Unity Party, which obtained 796,961 votes, constituting 43.44%. However, ladies and gentlemen of the press, Article 83B of the Constitution of Liberia requires that for any presidential ticket to win outright on the first ballot, that ticket must acquire at least 50% plus one of the valid votes cast. Article 83B further states that where no presidential ticket obtains at least 50% plus one, the two presidential tickets that receive the highest number of valid votes shall participate in a runoff election to be held on the second Tuesday following the expiration of the time provided for in Article 83C. With the results of the 10th October polls showing that no presidential ticket obtained 50% plus one vote, a runoff election is hereby declared to be held on Tuesday, 14 November 2023, between the two tickets that obtained the highest number of votes: the presidential ticket of the Coalition of Democratic Change CDC, led by Mr. George Weah, and the presidential ticket of Unity Party UP, led by Mr. Joseph Boakai. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, political campaign for the 14 November runoff election is hereby declared open today, 24th October 2023, and shall close on the 12th of November 2023 at 11:59 p.m. All of the results read can be found online, results.necliberia.org. I thank you.
All right.
Meanwhile, resident representative of ECOWAS to Liberia, Joseph Nkrumah, is urging all parties to tone down inflammatory language in order to promote peace during the runoff elections. The diplomat is confident a successful election will send a signal across the West African sub-region, which is grappling with the issues of unconstitutional change in government.
Has been particularly concerned about
the elections in Liberia for a few reasons. Notably, ECOWAS has really worked with Liberia during the conflict, post-conflict, and helping to set Liberia back on a democratic process. And whilst we have seen a few elections in the last few years, this particular election was important for the ECOWAS Commission because this was the first time that Liberia was conducting elections without the presence of UNMIL, without the support of UNMIL. It was also the time, this time around, Liberia was conducting elections, having migrated from the OMR registration process to a biometric voter registration process to ensure that we did not see a distortion of the choice of the people through multiple registration and multiple voting. Instructively, this is also 20 years since Liberia signed on to the Comprehensive Peace Accord. Having said that, within the context of the region itself, you would note that the region is experiencing a recurrence of some coups d'etats. We have 4 countries that are currently in the state of unconstitutional leadership, and most of these have occurred as a result of elections. Liberia became the spotlight for the ECOWAS Commission because we need to turn the tide around. More importantly, we need to entrench the democratic process here in Liberia. It was a test to ascertain if Liberia is really on that journey of democratization, and we saw that amply demonstrated during the voting process and the entire electoral process here.
Away from elections, the most vulnerable segments of the population, children and the elderly, are facing a growing threat from a silent and invisible killer, air pollution. Health experts in Ghana are sounding their alarm, calling on government and citizens to act to combat these deadly pollutants. Michael Ashale brings you the latest in our ongoing coverage of the critical issue of air quality in Ghana.
Accra is one of Africa's fastest growing cities. It seems that everyone in the capital is always on the move. But that very movement is putting them at risk. Air pollution is the second biggest threat to health in Ghana, according to the World Health Organization. Factories and waste burning are to blame for a lot of pollutants, but transport, especially the old fleet of trotros, is the biggest single contributor. Some of the particles emitted in this smoke are so tiny they can enter the bloodstream with lethal consequences over time.
It's not easy. It's a difficult moment. It's challenging breathing, especially at night when you are asleep.
Ruben Alexander has asthma, a life-threatening illness that constricts airways. Now 44 and an accountant with the University of Ghana Medical School in Kolebu, Otu says he was first diagnosed as a child. It was not a big surprise. Otu's mother had fought asthma for years before it finally took her life. Soon after, Otu's doctors told him he too had the disease. He is one of a growing number of Ghanaians with respiratory illnesses and a range of ailments, including heart conditions that doctors say are worsened by toxic air. Otu has to think all day, every day about avoiding triggers.
You encounter different kind of cars with their smoke from their exhaust pipes, very bad, and they are not the best.
The journey is far from comfortable, and with the emission of poisonous gas from the carbon-fueled engines, not even his nose mask can save him.
Protect myself from the dust in the system, the dust in the weather conditions in around here. It would help me to at least have a clean breath of air. So that's why I normally put on my nose mask. And especially when I use the trotro and stuff, people might come in with all sorts of perfumes in which might not be that best for me.
Air pollution has been associated with several diseases, notably respiratory diseases, acute ones as well as chronic respiratory disorders, lung function disorders, cardiovascular diseases, and even in recent times there are linkages with adverse reproductive health outcomes like miscarriages, low birth weight, premature deaths, births, and infertility in males.
Dr. Kao Osei has been monitoring the impact of air pollution on Ghana's growing population. He is the program manager of the Occupational and Environmental Health Unit at the Ghana Health Service. He says the effects of dirty air are far-reaching for many groups of Ghanaians.
We know that the children, usually are more vulnerable because their lungs are not well developed, and they stay closer to the ground where you have some of these pollutants in higher concentration. So they are more vulnerable, as well as the aged, the elderly, who are also not able to handle the effects of this air pollution, as well as the strong adults.
After realizing the gap between university education and the skills demanded by the world of work, the University of Ghana has developed a maiden internship policy to address this mismatch. The internship policy, which comes along with an implementation strategy, is aimed at enhancing the employability of University of Ghana graduates, boost their confidence, and mold them into all-rounded graduates. Kwesiada Ekwating was at the launch and has filed this report.
Many captains of industry have bemoaned the skills and competences of many graduates churned out by universities in the country. According to these industry players, there is a mismatch between the skill set of graduates and the competences needed in the world of work. To bridge this gap, the University of Ghana has launched an internship policy to guide internships undertaken by students. Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, disclosed that the policy is largely aimed at enhancing the employability skills of students.
The overarching goal of introducing the structured and formal internship policy, strategy and implementation framework at the University of Ghana is to empower our students and graduates. This policy aims to bridge the gap between the skills students acquire during the academic journey and the demands of the labor market. By doing so, it seeks to boost the confidence of students and enhance their employability, ultimately promoting successful transitions into the workplace for UG graduates.
Dr. Evans Agridako, acting head of Civil Service of Ghana, also re-echoed that experimental learning through well-guided internships is very important.
The policy underscores a deep and reflective recognition that a mere degree is insufficient to thrive in today's fiercely competitive job market. In a world where innovation and adaptability reign supreme, the capacity to apply knowledge in real-world scenarios is an essential skill that our students and graduates simply cannot afford to disregard.
Dean of the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Justice Bawele, also highlighted the uniqueness of the policy to achieve the intended goals.
Our policy is unique because it doesn't only come with a policy statement or intent that talks about various aspects, for example, the types of internship, the relationships and all of that, but it also comes with a strategy. In that strategy, we have done a comprehensive assessment of what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are. We have looked at ways in which we are able to enhance the implementation of the strategy. And then we also have put together an implementation framework. You know that the University of Ghana is big. We have different and varied areas of interest. The kind of internship that is required for medical students is completely different from what is required for business students. So we needed to give some guidelines to the various units on how they can proceed on their internship activities.
According to the policy document, students will only qualify for the university-facilitated opportunities provided they have good academic standing without any bad records from previous internships. In addition, participating industries are expected to also meet eligibility standards and play their prescribed roles as outlined in the policy.
Mfuenga Senior High School can now heave a sigh of relief as its now gotten a new canteen after years of operating under shed that was always at the verge of collapse. Students and staff had lamented over the threats to their lives and the unhygienic conditions they were exposed to operating under the shed. A new canteen donated to the school by a philanthropist and an old student, Jerry John Asiedu, can accommodate up to 500 students at a time.
For decades, students and staff of Amfoiga Senior High School in the Volta region lived every day in fear for their lives when using the canteen in their school. The dilapidated canteen, constructed mainly with wood, has been given away, with this leaky, rusted roofing sheets standing right in the middle of the school and serving as a source of great shame to management and students. But well, the philanthropy of an old student, Jerry John Asiedu, now means the school has a brand new 500-seater canteen which can serve other purposes. Albert Kwesidodo is headmaster of Amfoiga Senior High School.
This magnificent canteen facility provided by lawyer Jerry John K. Asiedu that we are about to commission will not only serve as a place for eating, but multi-benefits. We at Amfoiga are therefore blessed that this new facility will enable staff, students, and anyone who visits the school to eat in a very spacious, comfortable, and hygienic environment.
Lawyer Jerry John Asiedu, who sponsored the construction of the canteen, explains what moved him to help his alma mater.
We have been able to build this 500-seater capacity canteen for Mother Amfoiga. This building, I believe, gives our school the biggest single building canteen for any secondary school in the whole of Volta region and indeed in the country. Funding this project from personal resources meant that over the last 2 years of this construction, many personal and family finances had to be sacrificed. But I know and I believe that it is worth it. It is my prayer that all other old students and well-wishers will in their own way help support our dear school by providing the other infrastructure and logistical needs to help our school become a model school that it is supposed to be. I believe that we are all excited about this new canteen. I pray that the new canteen will help curtail the numerous overcrowding at the current canteen and the ravages of the weather and other associated risks that the old shed canteen has exposed our students, teachers, and traders to over the years. I urge the school management to make good use of the facility and adhere to the highest level of professionalism in managing the canteen.
Students of Amfoiga Senior High School are excited about this new project.
At first, at the old dining hall, it's small, and that place we get it's difficult for us to get chairs to sit down to eat. But here it's more comfortable. There are fans inside. When you feel heat, that will regulate your body temperature. So it's very important to it. And
the introduction of flies normally contaminates the food. So we get across to many sicknesses as a great institution. So I think this canteen would help us a lot. And we are very grateful to Dr. Jerry John Asiedu for building us this great building here.
Now we can control and how to promote personal hygiene at a higher level. Because at the older canteen, if you go there, if you buy food, how to control the house flies too is very something difficult.
And I would like to show my gratitude about this commencement of the new canteen. In fact, I'm very grateful to see this new canteen. The old canteen is very bad for we the students. Even the population enough cannot contain that old one. And the way they constructed it too, it was not good.
Amfoiga Senior High School still lacks key infrastructure. There's no dining hall, there's no administration block, few classrooms and dormitories. But certainly this new structure, sponsored by lawyer Jerry John Asiedu, has been hugely welcomed by the school community. Kweku Asante for JoyNews.
We're still live on JoyNews desk. We'll take a break. When we return, there's business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Yango has marked this year's Breast Cancer Awareness Month with a free breast cancer and general health screening for partner drivers and their families, as well as some students of the University of Ghana. The initiative, dubbed Yango Health Drive, forms part of the company's commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of its partner drivers, as well as the general public, especially young women.
Over 200 beneficiaries took part in the screening activity, which was held in partnership with Standout Care, a health-based non-governmental organization, and J. Nelson Aka Hall of the University of Ghana. There was breast cancer screening for both men and women, as well as checks for diabetes, malaria, hepatitis B, dental care, and general dietary counseling, all sponsored by Yango. Dr. Patrick Fain is founder and team lead at Standout Care.
Today is one of many partnerships we've had with Yango and many more to come. As everybody knows, it's Pink October month, a month earmarked for breast cancer awareness. And Yango has showed tremendous interest in women's health by wanting to raise awareness about this condition. And so we've been talking over the last few weeks, and today it has finally come to fruition. We are at the J. Nelson Aka Hall. The target is to screen at least 200 young people, both men and women.
Some of the beneficiaries spoke to Joy Business.
I think having a regular checkup helps the individual to know. You see, when you have an you are able to identify certain sicknesses early, you are able to terminate it and then prevent it from exacerbating.
We thank Yango and all the other partners for supporting us, because this is actually like a good initiative. Yes, we thank them for supporting us and partnering.
Now, the Minister of Tourism, Dr. Ibrahim Awal Mohammed, has called on corporate bodies to invest in the tourism sector to contribute to its development. According to him, this would help create more jobs for the youth and also propel the growth of the sector. He was speaking at the grand outdooring of the 20-year vision of Lakeside Marina Park.
As part of its 20 years anniversary, Lakeside Estate outdoored the vision of its Lakeside Marina Park. With a planned extension, the facility is expected to include a water-themed park, a Ferris wheel, and other recreational facilities. In an interview, Tourism Minister Dr. Ibrahim Awal Mohammed commended Lakeside Estate for their investment into the tourism sector and urged other corporate entities to emulate.
Lakeside's investment here is very welcome by government. We are very happy because tourism has become global, has become a mover in terms of revenues and in terms of jobs. So we want to commend Lakeside for their initiative, for their investment, and to tell them that government will support them to make their vision a reality. I want to urge other private sector businesses to take advantage of the travel economy and then invest in tourism and other areas. As I said, global tourism is supposed to grow by 5.7% every year for the next 10 years. But global GDP is growing about 3.7%. And 2 out of every 10 jobs in Ghana and most of Africa is created by the tourism, arts and cultural sector. So it's a worthy investment. I want to commend them for their initiative.
Marketing manager of Lakeside Estate, Isaac Ntiamo, explained the project and its intended contribution to the tourism sector.
And as we conduct our market research, we realize that we are the only recreational park in Accra that has a 12-acre lake. And what we see here today gives us an opportunity to expand into the promising future, where we can add on various entertainment and tourism activity at the park. So today, at this 20 years anniversary, we are envisaging or unveiling the 20 years vision for the next years ahead of us. We are expanding from a recreational park to a water theme park, not only in Ghana, but also in West Africa. We are going to have various zones. This is zone 1, where we have the lake, we have the golf course, we have the water slide, we have the children play area, we have the canopy walkway. The zone 2 is going to cover a water theme park, which we are starting with the pool. The pool is going to be ready by December 2023, and we are going to officially launch the water theme park.
Businesses in the tourism sector were also urged to improve their services to meet demands of tourists.
And that's all in business. The news continues after this break.
Welcome back to JoyNews Desk. And 147 schools started the 2023 National Science and Maths Quiz. Among these were 17 all-girls institutions, setting the stage for a groundbreaking narrative. Two remarkable forces, Wesley Girls SHS and St. Louis SHS, emerged, defying conventions and expectations. Jacqueline and Somayabwa has more.
Once denied their seed, rose from the ashes, ousting three-time champion St. Peter's in a blaze of determination. Wesley Girls Senior High School's journey, a testament to resilience, led them to the semi-final, eyes fixed on a historic victory, aiming to etch their name as the first all-girls school to clinch the National Science and Maths Quiz title.
That with God, their best will be the best, and then if it's God's will for us to get to the finals, to get there, and then if it's His will for us to win, we'll also win.
Their dreams, however, met an obstacle in the form of Achimota, leaving the world in awe of their journey.
Wesley Girls High School, thank you for being here as well. You also came all the way from the prelims and made it into the semi-finals. Well done. Unfortunately, we must say goodbye. Best wishes to you.
Meanwhile, St. Louis SHS embarked on a meteoric ascent, toppling reigning champions at Digital College and Al Classen Kumasi Anglican School, showcasing their brilliance in a series of victories.
And as the old Spanish saying goes, "Kisera sera, what will be will be." We have won the cup already. This is just the beginning of our glory.
After 13 years, their return to the semi-final stage has become a beacon of hope and pride for the entire school. The school's first ever National Science and Maths Quiz contestant from 1994, now a teacher, Rose Ayisi Bona, beamed with pride, heralding the immense honor this comeback brought to their legacy.
I'm so excited that at long last we've gotten to this stage. During our time, we got to this stage and were eliminated.
As the anticipation builds and the tension thickens, the destiny of these all-girls schools have remained uncertain, with none qualifying to the finale, leaving the question lingering: which of these three remaining schools will emerge victorious in the 30th edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz? For JoyNews, Jacqueline and Somayabwa.
Better luck to the girls next time. That's how we wrap up the bulletin this morning. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjournline.com. Over there, you will find headlines, including where Ghana stands, new course for grave lamentation, justice at Tuguba, and many other developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.